Hi everyone, it's Tyra from EMT, and today we'll be making a Black Forest tart. So before we start, I just want to say I hope everybody had a great holiday season. I know I did, and as well as the other team members of EMT. And so without further ado, let's get into making the tart. So we're going to start with the dough of the tart, which is called pâte sucrée. It's a sweet dough. It's kind of in between like a cookie dough and a pie dough. It's pretty much specifically used for tarts, and today I'll be making a chocolate one. So for the ingredients, I have unsalted butter, powdered sugar, 1 egg, all-purpose flour, some cocoa powder, and salt. So what you're going to start to do is, it's similar to making cookie dough. So you're going to start by creaming the butter and the sugar together. I'm just going to pop this in. So the butter's in along with the powdered sugar. And we're going to cream that together until it's light and airy. Okay, so everything, just like cookie dough, everything should be at room temperature, so it's easier to mix and incorporate. So now that the butter and sugar are combined, we're going to add the 1 egg and mix that in. I'm going to scrape everything down to make sure everything is incorporated. So now that's together, we're going to add in our dry ingredients, our flour, baking powder, and cocoa powder, and salt. And then start mixing on low so it doesn't go everywhere. Get everything a good scrape. Yeah, at this point it should kind of look like cookie dough, similar. It should look something like that. So now that your dough is formed, it's time to roll it out, put it into our tart pan. I have my tart pan right here. It's 9 inches, and you can really get it from Amazon or any craft store. I got mine from Joann's, but they also have some at Michael's and just really anywhere you can find it. So yes, now that our dough is together, I have some flour to dust to roll out, a rolling pin, a fork, and a paring knife. So I'm going to start rolling out the dough. Just throw some flour down so it doesn't stick. Make sure to flour everything so it doesn't stick. And you want to keep the dough moving like the whole time to prevent it from sticking. So you flip it over, slide it around the board, add some more flour if needed, just to make sure the dough doesn't stick. So you want to roll it out long enough just to make sure it fits. And a little hack to easily transfer is to roll the dough up on your rolling pin like this and just drip it over. And it is very fragile, so wherever there's like extra dough, you could cut along and just fill it in the holes. And then you're going to want to take a paring knife and kind of just go around it to evenly cut around. fill. And we're gonna take a fork and just, what we're gonna do is just dock it. This is called docking. It's to release any extra steam. Just do a couple holes around the bottom, because what we don't want is the crust to rise up, because we want it to stay kind of like this, remain in this shape, because then the ratio would be off. So if your pastry rises, it's gonna be like this much crust to this much filling, but you want enough filling in your beautiful pie tin, your tart tin. So then now that we have a couple holes, we're gonna set it in the fridge to chill for 10 to 15 minutes, just so it's solid, and then we could go ahead and bake it. So now that our dough is chilled, it is time to blind bake our crust. So there are many methods to blind baking, but I will show you the method that I learned at my externship in New Orleans. So we're just gonna grab some plastic wrap. Enough to cover it, and we're gonna go 2 ways. So blind baking is adding some sort of weight to your dough or crust. So I have beans here. The whole point of blind baking is to make sure the crust or your tart dough stays this shape. We don't want it to, like I mentioned earlier, like rise and have only a little bit of filling left, like a little bit of space left for your filling. So the beans or pie weights or rice, it just weighs it down so you have enough space, and it bakes like similar to what it is right now. So I'm gonna just grab some beans that I have here and fill it all up. You're gonna wanna fill it all the way to the top of the tin, just to ensure that nothing is gonna move. So you're gonna just bring the extra plastic wraps in. Now we're gonna add a little one on top. There are many methods, to do this, like I said earlier, but I just find this way the most easiest, because as soon as your crust is done baking, you can just take the beans out and reuse it for next time. So now that it's all filled to the top, it should look like this, and we're gonna pop our dough into the oven for 15 minutes at 375 degrees Fahrenheit.
While my crust was baking and cooling, I used this time to pit my cherries and cut them in half. I shaved some chocolate for my garnish, and I also melted some chocolate and butter over a double boiler for my filling.
So I took my tin out of the oven, and it's been chilling for about 20 minutes now, and it's at room temperature. And during that time while it was chilling, I cut up some cherries. I pit them in half, cut them in half. And what I'm gonna do now, before I make the filling for the tart, I'm just gonna line the bottom with cherries. So I cut about 12 cherries, and I'm just gonna see how much I'm gonna wanna put down. I can always cut more, you could cut more or less, depending on how many cherries you wanna put. I'm just gonna start at 12 and see if I like that or if I need to add any more. Looks good. So I ended up using 9 cherries that fit this pin size. So we're gonna set that aside, and we're gonna start making our mixture to go in. So I already pre-melted some chocolate and butter over the stove, and then you can see that in the video previously. So you're gonna wanna melt that down so it's all combined. And you're gonna let that cool so it's at room temperature. So in the meantime, you're gonna wanna beat together eggs, brown sugar, and vanilla and salt. You're just gonna throw all of these in at once and mix it on a really high speed for about 2 minutes until the mixture is light and fluffy. And then we're gonna add vanilla when it comes together. It's been mixing for about 2 to 3 minutes now, and it's very light and fluffy. And we're gonna keep it mixing, and we're gonna slowly add our chocolate. Turn the heat up again to make it a little bit longer. And we're going to scrape down the sides and add the vanilla extract. Then our filling should be all ready. So all the chocolate is added in, and just mix it for another minute or so. And once it's all well incorporated, we're going to slowly add in the vanilla extract. And just mix that for another 30 seconds. And it should look very light and silky like this. Just going to scrape that off. We're going to pour our mixture over our cherries. Try not to move the cherries and keep them in place as much as possible. So just gently pour as much as you can without moving them. Because you want the cherries to keep that stay pretty separated and distanced like that, so you could get a cherry in each bite. So we're just going to scrape the rest of this. I'm just going to take my offset spatula here and just spread it out to cover everything. So now that this is ready, you're going to lower the temperature to 350 and then pop this in the oven for about 25 minutes or until the filling is all set. So I took my tart out of the oven and I popped it in the fridge for about 2 hours, and now it's time to unmold and decorate. So I'm just going to pop it out of this pan and slide the bottom off. And then transfer it. So I have this little cake board here for decorating. So in the home stretch here, it's time to make the whipped cream to go on top of the tart. So we're going to start with some heavy cream. I'm not measuring how much because I don't know how much I'll need to cover this whole thing yet. So, but it's best to make more than enough. So I'm going to start by whipping that. And when it starts to stiffen, I'm going to add some powdered sugar, vanilla extract, and about a teaspoon or tablespoon of this Kirsch, which is a really strong cherry brandy. So it's going to be a little bit of a boozy whipped cream. Okay, so I'm going to add the vanilla extract and about a teaspoon or two of this brandy. I'm going to start with 1.5. So I'm gonna do a little taste test. Really good. Okay. So I'm gonna transfer this to our piping bag. So if you don't have a piping bag, you could just use a spoon to dollop the whipped cream on there, or use a Ziploc bag, or really whatever you have. So I'm gonna start with piping a design, and let's just see where it goes. So here's our finished tart. Let's cut into it. Okay, so here's the finished product. Let's dig in. Really good. Thanks for watching, guys. For the full recipe and measurements, they'll be in the description box below. And I want to give a quick shout out to Chris Meadows, Michelle's mom, for making us these very nice aprons. And yeah, if you make sure to try this, tag us on Instagram, Facebook, and just, yeah, thank you for watching. Have a good day. Now, if you don't have piping bags, you could just, what is it? Slap it on there. Here it is, everybody. Eat it. Eat it.
Tart, stop! Where you drop the whole thing and then you're gonna be sad.
Shout out to Chris Meadows!
Thank you, Chris.
Coming in clutch with the apron!
Yeah! Yeah!